Some doors are meant to be opened, and some are meant to stay shut forever. But what happens when curiosity outweighs caution? Tonight, we take you deep into the forgotten corners of an ancient house where silence breathes, shadows speak, and the line between memory and nightmare blurs into something far more terrifying. The rain was relentless the night Mira arrived at the house, her Aunt Elspeth's forgotten estate. Hidden deep within the woods of Ashbourne Hollow, the gravel crackled under her tires, wind shrieking through skeletal trees. The house stood in silhouette, crooked chimneys, broken shutters, and the faint flicker of candlelight behind one cracked window. She hadn't planned to stay long, just sort through her aunt's belongings, sign a few papers, and be back in the city before the week ended. But from the moment she crossed the threshold, Mira felt, observed, not watched, not followed, felt as if the house itself recognized her, welcomed her, or, perhaps, waited for her. Inside, the air was still, too still. Dust coated every surface. The wallpaper peeled like old scabs, and the scent of decay clung to every breath. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally, like they were being mirrored. Then came the noise, a whisper, barely audible. It came from beneath her feet. At first, she thought it was the pipes, but the voice returned, clear the second time. Mira. Her blood turned to ice. She followed the sound to the basement, its door heavy and swollen from years of moisture. The stairs creaked beneath her weight, each step groaning louder than the last. She shone her flashlight into the darkness, dust particles dancing like ash in the beam. There it was, a door at the far end of the basement, unlike any other in the house. It stood upright in the stone wall, iron-bound, handleless, and cold as bone. It didn't belong here. It didn't belong anywhere. And it was whispering. She leaned closer. The voice was muffled, like someone was speaking through thick cloth or underwater. "Let me out." She staggered back. Her heart pounded, but curiosity clawed at her faster than fear. She reached out, pressing her palm to the wood. It was warm, pulsing. That night, she dreamed of corridors that bent in impossible ways, lit only by the flickering glow of unseen candles. She wandered through them, always hearing her name in hushed tones, until she reached a mere no reflection, just a stitched mouth, bleeding black. She woke in a cold sweat. Over the next days, the whispering grew louder, not just at night, not just in the basement. It followed her, in the hallways, the attic, behind her in mirrors. The voice changed, sometimes pleading, sometimes laughing. Sometimes it sounded like her aunt, sometimes it sounded like herself. She tried to leave. The car wouldn't start. Her phone had no signal. The landline gave nothing but static. She wasn't trapped in the house by walls or locks, but by something older, hungrier, desperate. She began tearing through her aunt's journals, old boxes, forgotten letters. She found a photograph, stained and crumpled, of a man with hollow eyes standing in front of the basement door. On the back, scrawled in shaking ink, "It whispers what you want to hear. Then it takes your voice." Mira didn't sleep. She boarded up the basement door, salted the entryway. She even tried to burn it, but the flames fizzled as though the wood drank the fire in like water. And then one night, the door opened on its own, not loudly, no dramatic creak. It simply stood ajar, blackness leaking from its edges like ink and water. Mira stood at the top of the basement stairs, heart pounding, flashlight trembling in her hand. From below, she heard herself say, "Please come help me." It wasn't a whisper anymore. It was her exact voice. She took the stairs, one at a time. The flashlight flickered. The air grew thick and cold, like breathing syrup. The door stood open, revealing a narrow corridor that shouldn't exist. Stone walls, lined with chains. Candles flickered on unseen shelves, lighting her way. As she stepped through, the house behind her vanished, gone. She turned but only saw more hallway. Then came the faces, hundreds of them, emerging from the stone mouths sewn shut, eyes screaming. The walls pulsed with life, as if the hallway were breathing. From the shadows, a figure emerged, not a monster, a little girl, pale, hollow-eyed. "Mira." The child raised a finger to her lips. "Shh," she whispered. "He's listening." Behind her, something massive stirred, a shape in the dark, too large to comprehend, its form always shifting, smoke and sinew and mouths upon mouths. "Speak," it boomed, though its lips never moved. "Speak the truth you hide, and be free." Mira felt the words crawl inside her. It wasn't asking for confessions. It was demanding her soul, her secrets, her very voice. The things she'd never told anyone. The thing she did when she was 12. The lie that got someone hurt. The part of herself she buried so deep she barely remembered it. And it wanted them. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came. She ran, down endless tunnels, pursued by whispers, her own voice echoing back at her from the darkness. Every path twisted, every door led to another. There was no escape, until she saw a flicker of daylight impossibly distant. With everything left in her, she sprinted, the entity's whispers shrieking behind her, voices now pleading, "Stay, stay, stay." She burst through the door, fell onto the basement floor. It slammed shut behind her. Silence. She crawled upstairs. The house was empty. Cold, dust-covered, as if no one had lived there for decades. Outside, her car was gone, her phone gone. Even the trees looked different. She stumbled to the nearest road, flagged down a car. The man inside asked where she came from. Mira turned back. The house had vanished. Only the forest remained. 2 weeks later, a real estate agent in Ashbourne Hollow put out a new listing. A beautiful old house at the edge of the woods, recently restored, perfect for quiet writers. The ad read. In the photo of the basement, barely visible behind a workbench, was a door. No handle, no hinges, bound in iron, and if you pressed your ear against it, you could still hear her whispering, "Let me out."